One of the top New York Rangers prospects currently in the system, especially in the defensive side of things, is Matthew Robertson. This guy is one of the more NHL-ready prospects as well currently in the system. He's 22 years old, does not turn 23 until March, so still 22 for a while. Born in Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada, obviously. Big 6'4", 201-pound left-handed defenseman. Taken in the second round in the 2019 draft, number 49th overall. Most people kind of had him around that number, anywhere from like kind of 20 to like 35 kind of range. So it definitely seemed like getting him at number 49 was a bit of a steal. At the time, I was definitely very happy, and I'm still happy with this pick. I think it was still a pretty solid pick. I definitely do expect him to eventually make it to the NHL one day, whether it's with the Rangers or whether it's with someone else. I definitely am I'm not saying 100% sure, but I do think that with his size, his frame, his skating, his puck distribution, his shot, his overall hockey smart and stuff like that, I definitely think there's definitely an NHL caliber D-man in there for sure. Whether he's a number 4 kind of guy, which I think is kind of a ceiling, or whether he's a number 5 or 6, I think he's going to have a spot somewhere in the NHL. Like I said, whether it's with the Rangers, who knows? We do have guys like Lindgren and Miller already blocking up that left-handed side of things right now, and we have guys like Ben Harpur, Gustafsson, we just got the good offensive defenseman there, Eric Gustafsson, as well as Zach Jones, another young prospect who's also fighting for the left spot. So those are the 4 guys who are going to be fighting for that left-handed, the third deep pair spot alongside Schneider. They're going to be those 4 guys are going to be fighting for that spot. So it'll be interesting to see who gets that actual spot, who makes a team. I think Robertson could sneakily maybe make it in there, but I do expect him to start the year in Hartford. More than likely, it is going to be Zach Jones or Eric Gustafsson, I think, with maybe a slight chance of Harpur. And probably that number 4 spot right now, if you're at a power rankings, for example, on who's going to make that third deep pair spot with Schneider, I do think he's probably in that 4 spot right now. But I definitely do think that it is kind of realistic, maybe, that we do see him make his NHL debut this year in the regular season. He could also be a trade chip at the deadline or something. I could definitely see that as well, because I think he's kind of NHL ready. I mean, I'm not saying if you're going to go win a Stanley Cup, he's going to be on your D pair, but I do think he's good enough right now to, be on a couple teams in the NHL right now. They're third line D pairs at least. Maybe he is a trade chip, or maybe he just we hold on to him for a couple of years, and then maybe next year or the year after that, maybe he beats out Zach Jones or something, and then ends up being that third D pair. But for right now, we're definitely kind of locked in. But he could be a guy who could be a good replacement for Lindgren. Let's say, I know I'm one of the biggest fans you'll find on Lindgren, but maybe he is that Lindgren replacement when we have to end up moving on from him because he just he needs too much money. I could see that being a good fit. Maybe he can be that kind of a guy and good enough to be alongside Adam Fox, or at least on like a second or third pair. Maybe you have Miller slide up with Foxy on that top pair, and then on that second pair you have maybe by that time you have Zach Jones and Trubes, and then on that third pair you have Matthew Robertson and Schneider. That is a possibility. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, that's a few years out when that happens, but he could be that Lindgren replacement. I don't want to see Lindgren go, that's for sure. I definitely want to see him locked up. But if he has to go and Drew moves on from him, I could see Matthew Robertson being that replacement. It is possible. But overall, I do think he's going to be an NHLer one day. I'm not going to bet my life on it, but I definitely think he's probably going to be a decent player at the NHL level. And I think his ceiling is probably a number 3 at the very ceiling if everything went perfectly. But I do think that overall, he'll probably be a number 4/5, maybe 6. Being a solid, reliable D-man, maybe a high-end third pair kind of guy is definitely a pretty good spot for him, I think, one day. I'm not going to be a flashy guy, like I said, not going to be quarterback in a power play, that's for sure, but could be a PK1, PK2 kind of guy, playing a good defensive game, maybe more of a PK2 kind of guy at the next level, at the NHL level, but overall, plays a good defensive game, has won a U18 gold medal candidate at the Holinky Gretzky Cup, was a second All-Star team the one year in the WHL East as well, so not bad at all. And this last year in the Edmonton Oil Kings as well, had 22 points in 22 games played, 4 goals, 18 assists, 26 points. That was one of the COVID-shortened years. And like I said, his last 3 years with the Edmonton Oil Kings was an assistant captain. So being assistant captain of a pretty good organization, definitely nice to see as well. Got some good leadership skills. Back in 2019-2020, his second last year with the Edmonton Oil Kings, had 60 games played, 47 points. Then had that point per game year as well after that. So looked pretty good there. And then his third last year there, when his first year being an assistant captain, 52 games played, 33 points back in 18-19. So overall, played really good there. That was his draft year as well. So his draft year having 33 points, 52 games played as a big 6'4", more defensive kind of guy than offensive guy. Overall, is pretty good numbers in the playoffs of the year as well. Had 16 games played, 8 points. So overall, definitely a very good, reliable two-way defender. More on the offensive side of things, I'd say like about 65% on that defensive side of things, 35% on the offensive side of things, maybe kind of like a Braden Schneider. I think Braden Schneider is kind of the same type of build and type of player. Not the exact type of player, but what I'm saying is they're both definitely more defensive than offensive, but their offensive game is definitely like not non-existent, for example. It is definitely a decent offensive game. They're both solid puck movers, both have good shots, both play a physical game, but overall are definitely reliable defensively. And that's something to keep note of as well. That's what kind of compared to maybe Mark Stahl. I know Mark Stahl wasn't the perfect guy, but I think there's some kind of comparisons there with Stahl, being they are both defensive kind of guys, and both could be reliable. Well, obviously Mark Stahl was pretty reliable, but definitely Robertson could be one day. And like I said, Robertson was also kind of projected to be a first-round pick as well. So maybe we could see a legit steal here one day. And that's why I kind of do see maybe an upside of being a kind of low-tier second pairing guy is definitely a realistic possibility. But for his size, he moves quite well. He's a good puck distributor. Definitely could be one day a really solid defensive, more defensive than offensive defenseman, but overall, I do think his game is quite solid and definitely translates to the NHL level with how physical he is. He's got that toughness, got that bit of grit to him as well, but has a really good puck distributor, good passer, good in all three zones, and overall, a definite guy who you want to see on your team. Could add a bit more muscle, get stronger, obviously, but that's with every single prospect. But overall, definitely one day I think will be an NHLer. Whether it's a second pairing guy or a third pairing guy, I think he'll definitely find a way to have a decent NHL career one day, whether it's with the Rangers or with another team. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys have, please smash the like button and definitely comment down below your guys' thoughts on Matthew Robertson. And do you think he can one day be a second pairing guy or a third pairing guy? What do you think his ceiling is? Let me know your guys' thoughts. Thanks for watching, and see ya.